Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be making this tutorial on how to cut and sew a bustier top with double keyhole yoke. So if this is something that interests you, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So first and foremost, we are going to be drafting the pattern for this outfit. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my shoulder measurements, which is 8 inches. So on that 8 inches, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. Then I'm going to mark my neck width of 4 inches. So for that, from that 4 inches to the 1 inch that I came down with, I'm going to use my ruler to connect it in the straight line to form my shoulder slope. Then from the beginning of the pattern paper, I'm going to go ahead and insert my chest line, which is 9 inches, my bust point, which is 11.5 inches, my under bust, which is 15.5 inches, and my waistline of 18.5 inches. Then I'm going to add half an inch as allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and form a straight line on those points. So I'm just going to label my lines: the chest line, the bust point, the under bust, the waistline, and the last line is the allowance line. So after labeling it, I'm going to use my ruler to connect my shoulder slope to my chest line like so. So after doing that, I will go ahead to look for the midpoint of that line that I just drew now, and I'll mark the midpoint, and on that midpoint I'll come in by half an inch. So after coming in by half an inch, I'll go to my chest line and insert my bust circumference measurement, which is 10.75. Then I'll connect that point and that point together using my armhole curve, and we have successfully created our armhole. So the next thing I'll do is to go to my chest line and insert my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. My nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches divided by 2, that's 4 inches. So I'm going to insert that on the chest line, bust point, under bust, and the waistline. So after doing that, I'm going to connect all those points together with my straight line. So I'm going to go to the under bust. So on the under bust, on the side that goes to the center front, I'm going to mark half an inch, and on the side that goes to the side front, I'll mark 1.5 inches. Then I'll come down from the bust point by 0.75 inches. Then I'll take my armhole curve and connect the point on the under bust to the point where I came down with on the bust point like so. So after connecting that, I'm going to go to my chest, and I'm going to, on my chest line, on the that line on my chest line, I'm going to go out on both sides by 1 inch, and I'm going to connect it from that point that I came down with at the bust point. I'm going to connect that to the chest line with my armhole curve the way I'm doing now. So after doing that, I will go ahead to mark my neck depth. The neck depth I'm going for is 4 inches. So that means my neck is 4 inches by 4 inches. So you can decide to go for the neck depth and neck width that you want. So the next thing I'm going to do now is from that that line on the chest line, I'm going to go up by 3 inches. So how high you go up by depends on your preference. So, and I'm going to connect that in a triangular form to my chest line. So how wide you want that triangle to be, it also depends on your preference, or you can decide to make yours circle. So it depends on what you want. So guys, we are done with the drafting of our keyhole. So the next thing is to insert my measurements. So I've already inserted the bust circumference. Then the 2 inches will be cutting off from the chest line. I will insert it. Then I'm going to insert 1 inch seam allowance. Then on the waistline as well, so it was at this point that I remember that I didn't extend the lines on the under bust to the waistline. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. So after extending those lines to the waistline, I'm going to start marking, I'm going to mark my waist circumference measurement, which is 9.25 on my waistline. Then I'm going to measure the distance we have there at that dart line. Whatever we have, I will replace it at the side. Then I'm going to add 1 inch seam allowance. I'll use my ruler to connect that together with my bust measurement, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So as you can see, I've not separated the yoke, and that's because I want to use this to cut the back panel. So for the back panel, I've already marked my zipper allowance. So I'm just going to place my front panel on the back panel. Then I'm going to trace out the shoulder line and the armhole like so. Then I'm going to mark out the bust, the chest line and the waistline. So after marking that out, I'm going to rule a line there. So on the waistline, I'm going to go ahead and insert about 4 inches my nipple to nipple measurement, and I will duplicate that on my chest line. Then on my waistline, I'll go out on both sides by half an inch, and I'll come down from my chest line by 1 inch. Then I'll connect both together to form my dart legs. So after forming the dart legs, I'll go ahead and insert my measurements on the back panel. So I will insert my bust circumference measurement and the 1 inch seam allowance. I'll go to the waistline, insert my waist circumference measurement, add the 1 inch dart intake and 1 inch seam allowance. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect that together. Then for the neckline, I want a very deep neck. The neck is going to stop at the chest line and it's going to be a V neck. So that's what I'm trying to form now. So after that, I'll go ahead and cut out my back panel. Then after cutting it out, I will work on the waistline at the zipper allowance to eliminate zip bulge. So I'm going to deduct half an inch from the zipper allowance at the waistline. So guys, this is my back panel, and this right here is my front panel. So now that we are done with the back panel, I'm going to separate the yoke of the front panel from the main bodice now. So I'll first of all cut out the neckline, because I didn't cut out the neckline the other time. Then I'm going to separate the yoke now. So after separating the yoke, I'm going to also make a cut around that triangle shape that we marked the other time. So after doing that, I'm going to take all these pieces to my fabric and I'm going to cut them out on my fabric. So guys, it was at this point that I realized that I didn't separate the center front from the side front. So that's what I'm doing now. So this is what I have after separating the center front from the side front. So I'll go ahead now to cut all this on my fabric. So guys, I've already gone ahead to cut it on my fabric. This is my back panel and the lining for the back panel. So this is my center front and the side front, and as you can see, I added half an inch to this midpoint to the sides, and I decided that I'm going to use 1.5 inch as seam allowance. So I added half inch as well, because we already marked 1 inch on the pattern paper. I'm making a peplum top, so I've already cut out my flare for the peplum. So this is the yoke. I've already cut out the yoke as well. So I'm just trying to chalk the fabric, because to know the wrong side from the right side. So this is how my yoke looks like. It is a double keyhole yoke. So these are the double keyhole. So I cut out 2 pieces of the yoke. One piece is going to serve as lining for the other piece. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take my wadding, and I'm going to notch the underbust of my fabric. So after notching the underbust, I'll take my wadding and I'm going to go ahead now to cut out the wording for this fabric. So this wording is kind of soft, so to make sure that it's thick and it stands firm in the fabric, I'm going to cut 2 for each side. So that's what I'm going to do now. So guys, I'll go ahead now and use my iron to gum this wording to the fabric. So I've gone the wording to the fabric, both the center front and the side front. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the center front down to the side front like so. So after doing that, I will press it open. I'll notch it and press it open. So for the yoke, I'm going to lay the right sides of the two pieces on each other. Then I will sew down on the triangle shape, or on both triangle shape. Then I will sew down the neckline as well, turn it out with the armhole and press it down. So guys, this is what I have after um after joining my center front to the side front. This is what I have, and I've gone ahead to press it open. So as you can see, our bustier is already standing properly. So, and I've gone ahead to work with my my yoke as well. So this is what I have as my yoke. So now I'm going to go ahead and fold the yoke into two, and I'm going to notch the center, the midpoint. So for my bustier top as well, I will fold it into two and notch the midpoint as well. So once I notch the midpoints, I will lay the yoke on the bustier top like so, and I'm going to pin it down to it. So I'm going to make sure that I arrange my yoke properly, because we don't want any part to fold. We want everything to lay flat properly. So I'm going to just try to arrange and align the yoke to my to the main bodies. So after arranging and aligning, I'll pin down. So once I pin down, I will open it like this, and this is what I have. And as you can see, it's folding somehow, so I'm just going to try to adjust it. Please guys, be patient when you are doing this, because you don't want it to fold after you have sewn the lining down to it. You have to open it up again. So after that, once I align it properly, I'll place my lining on it as well, because I've gone to sew my lining as well. So I'll place my lining on the yoke, making sure the right side of the lining is facing the right side of the fabric and the yoke. So I'll pin the midpoints of the lining to the fabric like so, and take it to my machine and sew it down. So guys, after sewing down the lining, I top stitched, and this is what I have. So as you can see, our the front pattern is ready. So there's no folding there because we aligned it properly. So the next thing I'm going to do is to work on my back panel, work on my peplon as well, join together, attach sleeve, attach zipper and every other thing, and I'll come back. So guys, this is the final look of our bustier top with double keyhole yoke. I trust that you enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know in the comment section whether you learned something from this tutorial today. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel to enjoy more content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.